So imagine needing a digital ID just to get a job, to rent a flat, to open a bank account. Sounds convenient, right? Or maybe just a little bit Orwellian. So my name's Harvey Goldman, and if you stick around, I'm going to break down what this could mean for your freedom, your data, and most importantly, your future in Britain. So there has been increasing talk over the last few years, but especially in the last 3 months, about a digital ID system for the UK. It's not really a new idea, especially post-Brexit and in the age of online fraud, illegal immigration, and also crackdowns on black market working. Least of all identity theft. Proponents say that it will streamline life, it will reduce fraud, it will modernise outdated paper-based systems. The critics say it's going to open the door to surveillance, to discrimination, and also mission creep. So the conversation is heating up again, very recently, and now it's time to ask, do we really want or need this? So let's have a deep dive. So basically the pros, these are the fours. You've got streamlined public services. So this could, and I emphasise could, make it easier to access the NHS, to access benefits, to access government services without reproving your identity every time. So that's convenient. It could cut admin costs and at the same time therefore speed up processing, which means you've got no more passport scans just to access universal credit. So again, convenient. You could tackle fraud and tackle online crime. In fact, identity fraud costs the UK economy 1.3 billion, and those numbers are going up every year. The digital ID could reduce benefits fraud, it could reduce illegal working and also black market activities. So that's keeping us safe. It could make easier travel and proof of age a thing of the past. You could integrate this with passports, with age verification, for example, at bars, and even things like car rentals or access to insurance. You could modernise all of the ID systems that we have. As I said earlier, the UK is very much reliant on outdated paperwork-based systems. Many people don't even own a passport or a driver's licence, so this would be a godsend for them. And finally, I guess a free, accessible digital alternative could be ultimately more inclusive. So what are your thoughts on this? Well, let's look at the other side before we jump to any conclusions. So you've got the cons. So you've got privacy and surveillance. Now, critics of this do warn of a big brother state where your digital footprint can be monitored, it can be restricted or even weaponized against you or others. It could be used to track down location purchases or political activity if powers are expanded. Let's not forget what happened when they introduced vaccine passports. Initially it was one thing, rapidly it became another. You've got data breach risks. Now, obviously, in this age of online fraud and AI, which will ultimately be weaponized for evil ends, that is undeniable. A centralized ID system would be a goldmine for hackers. The UK government's data breaches have already impacted millions of people, including military, police, and NHS personnel, as recently as 2023. You've got access and digital exclusion. 5 million adults in the UK still do struggle with digital access. You've got vulnerable groups, the elderly, the homeless, even some disabled. They could be shut out, potentially making the system unfair and elitist. You've got mission creep. So as mentioned earlier, something starts off as voluntary. It then becomes required for job apps, for renting a home, for your healthcare. Ultimately, it's mandatory and you can't live without it. So what happens when private companies begin to demand it? What do they do with the data? What happens when they get data breaches? It's a big concern. And the biggest concern The ultimate concern that we should all have is who controls the system. Will it be state-owned? Will it be privatised? Will it be outsourced? Will it be kept in the UK or managed overseas where costs are more affordable? Will you be able to control what's linked to your digital ID and also delete it if you want to? So let's look at the facts. This isn't about being for or being against. We don't know enough to make that choice. It's about understanding what's really on the table. Before we accept another layer of digital control, we need transparency. We need to know exactly how it's going to be used, how it's going to be regulated, and most importantly, if me, you, and the Joe public are going to have a say that will decide how it works. Because once it's in, it will be literally impossible to opt out of. So if this gets you thinking about privacy, wait until you see what I've found in my deep dive on supermarket loyalty cards. That'll be coming up in a future video. If this kind of real talk matters to you, obviously hit the like, the subscribe, the follow, the bell, and all the rest of that jazz. It all helps me push this message forward, helps my channel reach more people, and I think that'll probably be quite good for everybody. So there you go. What are your thoughts on this? Drop it in the comments. YouTube's going to pop another video probably about there somewhere. And yeah, see you in the next one. Goldman, peace out.